very dangerous to generalize about the global economy. The mood and the sense of energy in the emerging markets is really very strong right now, and the sense that they're creating their future. So I think we can get caught up in extrapolating the developed world to the whole world. That's not the case. But I think if you look at Europe and North America, particularly the US and Japan, it's going to probably be slower growth for a bit longer. That doesn't mean we can't get accelerated growth in the out years, but there's some issues to work through. I think the first is we have to recognize just how much more challenging this recession was than others we have dealt with. We've got a real hole now, a hole that sits first and foremost on the balance sheets, originally of consumers or small businesses or banks, increasingly on the balance sheet of governments, and that's going to take some time and present some real challenges to work through. We would talk about it in three terms. One is about restoring confidence, second about removing obstacles, and the third is about creating the right incentives. And if you just take those quickly, one at a time, on restoring confidence, businesses don't invest if they don't see horizons that they're going to get real payback, part of which depends on a reasonably stable and positive macroeconomic environment. The issues around debt and deficits right now are really quite substantial, and I think they're expecting governments to work to reasonable solutions. No one's expecting there to be painless solutions. There's not going to be, but reasonable solutions on how we work through that, and that creates a long-term confidence. Even having done that, there's two key elements. One is there are still some obstacles that we're going to need to get around. If I just take the United States for a second, our regulatory frameworks and the myriad of hurdles, even very small businesses need to jump across multiple departments, across local, state, federal. It's very difficult. And I mean, we heard as we were interviewing CEOs, really, stories like in the semiconductor industry, that it takes longer to get the permits for a semiconductor fab operation than it does to have the life cycle of the product. So, if it takes that long to do this, you don't invest, or you invest somewhere else where it's easier to invest. And so we need a regulatory approach. It's not about not wanting to protect the public, but it's about creating an environment that actually wants people to create jobs in that environment, as opposed to not really caring whether the firm is created or not, just caring about the regulation. We have a huge talent gap right now, not at the top level. Our top level education system is very strong, but vocational training, community colleges, we need a generation of workers that can replace a great generation that's on the verge of retirement. And there are jobs available. We need to train people for them. And that starts with government creating environments. It also is a business responsibility to invest. Germany has wonderful public-private partnerships around apprenticeship and creating jobs for young people. And they have unemployment rates for young that are half the rates that we have. And our long-term unemployment rate, which is the scariest factor of everything right now, is at its highest level since World War II. And it is disproportionately young and undertrained and undereducated. We need to invest in them.